Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third match of the Meticulous Talks Invitational Tournament of Champions. I am Chris Accords, and once again with me,
Hi, it's Pages. Nice to be back.
absolutely. Yeah, it was a pleasure having you last week, and I think the matches this week will be right up your alley again. I think. I mean, for one thing, it's one of your locals playing,
That is true.
so hopefully you have perhaps some insight into some of the choices you made.
Okay.
So, speaking of, our two competitors this week are Max, Vancouver local, and Diamond Song, who I believe from Seattle, just across the border.
Practically local to each other.
This is our number three. For those of you who perhaps didn't watch the others, the earlier matches, this tournament is a best of three. First match core, second match harmony, third match, if needed, random. So, start. Let's take a look at the deck lists for the first game, the core game. Let's start with Diamond Songs. So, Diamond Song opting for her own version of Reanimator. We saw a Student 6 Tricorn deck last week, piloted by Grand Pause. This version is a little bit different, with Celestia, for example, High Noon, I believe missing Cadence for his team.
That's right.
Yeah.
So she's opted to play Celestia instead of Cadence. A little bit more aggressive, sacrificing a bit more control in order to do so. But Celestia is Swift, so having a 5-power Swift friend is quite nice.
Absolutely.
Also notice that there's Brian.
Yeah.
Which helps you protect your high-value targets.
Mm-hmm. Are useful against purple decks running stuff like Magicite or, pink. Much.
And you also get Resource Dismissal at Brian, which the Reanimator decks sometimes lack. Also, another, I think, notable omission is no Meadowbrooks.
That's correct. Yes. Counting on the
So
ability
instead
to.
of Meadowbrooks, yeah, you've got other cards like Starlight, Caramel Apple to give you some extra power, and Staffs. Or is it Staves? It's still Staffs, right?
I think both are correct.
Okay.
All right.
And another interesting thing is she's also got Pie from the Sky, which gives a power bonus to a character, and even more if they are a Earth Pony.
Right. And this, the Reanimator deck, well, it's got Orchard Blossom. We have Limestone in here. Not the usual Limestone like we saw in Grand Pause's deck, the cost reduction
I think,
Limestone.
yeah, and I think there's a, where is it? Torque Wrench? 3 Torque Wrenches, which we saw be a pretty big threat last week, I think.
That's right. Okay, shall we look at Max's deck?
All right.
So that's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be Student 6
Oh,
versus Student 6 to start.
the Reanimator mirror. But they're not entirely the same type of Reanimator decks, I think. I also believe that these are the other two players that have Reanimator decks. We had Grandpa's last week, and I think these are the only other decks
That
of this type
is
still left.
correct, I think. Yes. Max's deck
Okay,
much more similar to the one that Grand Pause ran last week.
right. I think the major difference is that Max, instead of having 3 Grogars, has put in 3 Fire Friendships. Other than that, I think it is pretty much the same. Also, I think the problems are slightly different.
That's right. The caught off guards weren't in Grandpa's version. Although I'm not sure what was taken out to get them in. Now, as we kind of mentioned last week, one of the things about Reanimator in general is that you don't have a whole lot of immediate speed sort of catch-up cards, as it were. Uh, so you'd guess that a mirror between them is basically going to come down to who can get the tricorns out first.
I think it will come down to something like that. Usually, in the case of mirror matchups, it happens to be where if the first player to get their what works to make their deck tech out first will generally win, especially if it's more of like a straightforward confront your problems type of a deck.
Absolutely. Excuse me. So now, before we get to the actual stream, I just want to make a few notes. First of all, unlike our previous two matches, this one was recorded in Octagon rather than Tabletop Simulator. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see the player's hands, just what's in play. And also, second, unfortunately, and my humblest apologies for this, unfortunately, I made a mistake doing the recording, so we don't have the player's audio either. So it is just going to be what we see on screen.
It's okay. We'll more than make up for that.
We'll certainly try. Okay, with that said, let's get to it. Alrighty, so both players opting to start with buckball strategy.
Okay.
I believe that's what we saw before.
In the last Reanimator match, Grandpa's chose to start with infiltrating the hive, I believe. He also named white on his student 6. Here, I mentioned that there's an alternative strategy where you start with buckball strategy and name orange in the event that you want to, for example, get something like a limestone pie out first or
Right.
earlier.
And it would seem that Max is taking that option.
Yeah, and this on Diamond Song's side, she's picked purple.
Purple for.
So you can get Starlight,
Oh, right, that makes
I
sense.
think. You get Starlight, and you might have like a better way to get into some of your events, perhaps. So Max got went first. I think he just banked, and Diamond Song just moved to Buckball strategy. Is that right?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
So yeah, Diamond has the Starlight for an early play. To purple, she can get to Torque Wrench relatively quickly.
Yeah, she just needs to probably play like a Sunny Skies.
Mm-hmm. She also, I guess, by choosing a different color, well, makes it a little bit easier for both of them to flip the mains over.
Yes, that's right. I wonder what the idea behind, I believe that was a turn one move to Buckball strategy for Diamond was, compared to Max, who's just electing to, bank sit on his AT until he manages to play a couple things
Mm-hmm.
all at once.
Max has, yeah, it is his third turn now. So
Yeah,
Diamond
so he's got
also,
6.
yeah, enough for a generator into an Orchard Blossom.
I 6-5, yeah. Interesting to like so when he had 4 AT, usually what a lot of an ideal strategy I think would be to play Klugetown Citizens and then discard some, tricorns to Klugetown Citizens so you can get a flip. Oh, there it is. If you have it, but then you're banking more AT before you drop it, usually it means that you want to do you want to play another card afterwards. So he's discarded Luna to Clujetown Citizens.
Yep, exactly like you say. Essentially going for
Um, I believe according to the chat log
yes, that's
in the
correct.
bottom left corner.
And he does it for the flip.
Yeah, so he paid so Luna's orange, white, and purple.
Yeah, so he would have flipped for 380.
Yeah.
But
Okay, and he gets a confront.
gets a confront, gets a counter. Gets a counter before Diamond Song does, so
Also interesting, I think, to know is that if you did start with infiltrating the hive, I believe that's a 5 on your side to confront
it
instead of
is.
4 with buckball strategy. So if you were playing infiltrating the hive, it might be a lot harder to do that. All right, so we got Sclerite, which I believe is pick 2 colors.
Pick 2 colors, yes. For a functionally similar strategy to what Max did.
Right.
With
So flipping would now cost flipping student 6 would cost 2, I believe, if you picked something that's not orange or purple. Orange is one of them, blue is the other.
okay, so she's in the same position Max was then. 3 colors. Does have enough AT to flip. And would be confronting, so functionally the same line open to her. But
Yep, there we go.
no Luna in the discard, which is potentially important.
I wonder what she's setting up for here because at the moment I think Sclerid is 1 power, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so 1 orange doesn't get her into any specific cards, but the 1 blue gives her caramel apple, which comes in at 4 power.
That's correct, yes. I mean, I guess 1 orange would mean that she could, like, get speech in this deck?
Motivational speech, yes.
Yeah, so she could, like, speech and then have enough orange for limestone.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
wait. No, her. Oh, yeah,
it's a
that's right.
different lime. Actually, this deck, the 2 decks run 2 different limestones. All right, so it looks like just a all Max does is pass. So the important thing about I think about the student 6 versus student 6 mirror is, of course, being able to start accruing counters faster than your opponent does. So Max is 1 counter ahead. I think that's a pretty important advantage to have. We'll see how it plays out.
Right. I just realized actually that one of the issues with not having sound is going to be when Max's limestone hits the field. Might be a little
We
bit.
will just speculate.
I guess so. By the way, welcome to everyone down in the chat. Hello, especially to you, Crow. I believe you're the new guy. Discord earlier.
The new guy.
Well, sorry to single you out, but welcome. If you have any questions, there are plenty of knowledgeable people in the chat who will be happy to answer them, I'm sure. Welcome back, also Bugle. I know you were away last week. Always appreciate the insight from you. And we also have Cheese and Ivory. Diamond Song here as well. Oh, yeah, but
I think both players are actually here. Maybe they could give a little bit of insight into their own plays as well, while we speculate. Looks like Diamond Song's just passed her turn and scored a point. So now, if Max wants, now because he got 4 counters, just um, dropping Orchard Blossom for free is an option now.
yep.
Although I might rather that he pitch a white card to Kluge Town citizens, and then just play it like that, and then confront, get one more counter, and then play some tricorn of some sort for free on the next turn.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong.
Swing big.
If he's got the tricorn in hand and got enough of them in his deck, so that's not an
All right,
unlikely
play
case.
4. All right, what's he gonna put out? Sure.
Orchard. We know he's got a Luna in his discard, so guaranteed that at least.
Okay. Limestone or Luna? I think you can make a case for both, but I would prefer Luna. There we go. Take out the Scalarite, so Diamond Song's back to having only one color on board
Yep,
instead of 3.
and he doubles as well.
Oh yes.
Bugle saying in chat he prefers the limestone, which, as we say, yeah, that's
Yeah. Well, the limestone stops student 6 from getting more counters. It's whether or not you want to have that, or whether you want to lock them out of the colors more. But I might prefer the Luna here, but we'll see how it plays out.
alrighty. Here we go.
Oh, got them both anyways.
Oh wow, that's just awful.
Got them both anyways. So I think in Diamond's deck, the only way to stop Limestone from just shutting off Student 6 every turn is to get her own Luna out. So she can frighten the Limestone. Either that or bait Limestone with a more powerful card that might warrant turning off.
Limestone, yes, that's true. You can protect yourself from Luna by getting a Twilight out, but yeah.
The idea is that you will now as Max will gain counters twice as fast, assuming people are confronting every turn.
Right. Okay, looks like they're going into resolving the face-off. Should be a victory for Max. Not that it matters.
Oof.
Catchy Song is an unfortunate flip.
Right now, I think the only target is the another limestone. So, no, I don't think it's the biggest deal. Also, developing your board state for relatively low cost is still very nice.
Absolutely. All right, caught off guard for Max. Wilderness Camping for Diamond Song. She has only a friend in her discard, so that is 4 orange plus 3 wild for her. Did you
Opposing characters with 2 or less power actually hits quite a lot of Diamond Song's friends.
catch when Max exhausted his limestone? Was it during his turn or the start of this turn?
It was before face-offs, I believe.
Okay.
Before confronting his turn.
Okay, so he prevented the counter from accruing, but the a play for 3 is still possible.
Yeah, it's just on Diamond Song now in order to be able to actually get counters, because she needs to confront now while Limestone is exhausted.
Okay, she looks like she has got something for 3.
Or 2. All right, 3. It's 3.
It's the other limestone.
Okay, the other Limestone. I believe this is a Limestone that makes friends with power 4 or more cost less.
Yes, 1 less to play your first friend with printed power 4 or more each turn.
And she's a big body by herself as well.
And persistent. Not that that matters. too much in this matchup. But yes, she has 5 power all her own. And with 6 AT left over, Diamond very well might get another one of those counters for herself.
I think she's only down by what 2 power.
At that problem, yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Limestone's discount does not trigger on that Cluj Town because Limestone was the first trying to enter play this turn.
I'm going to imagine that she's got more planned for this turn. Because
Yeah,
I believe as it currently stands, she's not confronting either of those.
that's right. Cutoff guard is a 6, or is it an 8?
Cutoff guard is an 8.
Right. So yeah, 2 more at camping, 4 more at cutoff guard.
All right, pie from the sky.
Okay, that's +4 for Limestone.
Yep.
Or +2 for Cluj Town.
It's going to be the +2. +4, sorry. I think that would make sense. Important to note that they're not +1 counters, but it's just temporary power.
Boy, 1AT, 4 plus on power counters would be awesome.
You. All right, moves directly to square phase, looks like.
Okay. Setting up for potential double face off later. Or maybe
Yep.
she just wants to avoid the single.
For me, she just needs to run some. She's just trying to develop her board state because Luna will frighten something every turn.
Good point, yeah. To want to play more than one thing every turn. Want to Luna out.
You know, ever play Octagon and then not actually go through all the phases? That happens to me every time.
Oh, you want to end the turn and you find out you're in troublemaker phase? Or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Exactly.
It's kind of hard to like keep that in mind. Oh yeah, I should tab through all the phases and such. All right, so there's a Frighten on Limestone, which I think is. Uh, I think you can make a case for either more.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, Limestone, you're preventing the discount, and it's also 5 power versus 4. Uh, but Cluj Town will serve its purpose. Well,
You can get into pretty much any colors with Cluj Town, provided your deck allows you to do so.
yeah.
So I might actually prefer that you frighten the Cluj Town citizens here. Limestone's 5 power plus the another Orchard Blossom.
Uh-oh.
All right, roll the dice. Oh no! Wow, hit all the Limestones. I think that's every of Ax's Limestones accounted for. One on the field, one in play, one in the bin.
Oh, apparently you
Oh,
have a
okay.
Twilight in the discard.
He must have discarded that at some point earlier that we didn't quite notice. And that's fine. So I think that's quite the slam dunk choice there.
Yeah, Luna and Twilight together are a terrible duo. Well,
Yeah, as I was
for the opponent at least.
yeah. So I think that should limestone activation should target the student 6 as well. He moves to square phase. As I was saying with Cluj Town citizens, because that lets you get into pretty much any other color that Diamond would want, I would probably prefer to take that out because at uh at Diamond's Limestone's 5 orange power plus the 3 purple from Student 6. Just from that alone, I don't think that gets her into any card or any friend that would trigger the discount from Limestone. You just need to add white somehow and you get Luna,
Mhm.
or you add yellow and get Twilight. So that could be a good case too. But I think that with Cluj Town, you get a lot more flexibility.
Yeah. All right. So, with two tricorns down, Max is in a pretty commanding position, probably.
Yep, I would say so. Especially because you're gaining so many counters on Student 6 faster than your opponent is.
But as Bugle points out, there have been matches before in this tournament that looked like they were over.
And then they weren't. Right? Diamond Song's only down 2 points. And there are 2 bonus points on the field right now. So this could quite quickly turn on its head.
Yeah.
You just have to hope that Diamond's nearly full hand is going to be able to support that. Right, she's actually quite close to a double confront right here.
Yep, same as it was last time.
Yeah, and on
Actually,
board
no.
right now, I
Uh,
think their powers are the same.
she's got an event in her discard pile now, so she's actually one power closer on Luminous.
Right, so it's like 9 power versus 9 power currently. So she's got an entire turn to just play whatever to beat that 9 power.
Unfortunately, that was just a one to draw from her.
Fishing for something. At this point, I wonder what's in the rest of her hand. I probably is full of a lot of stuff that she isn't able to play because of color restrictions.
Possible.
And with only 2 AT sitting in the bank right now, I think that her options are somewhat limited
Yeah.
as for what she could be playing right now.
Could be events like Luna's future is pretty useless at the current position. Oh, there's a staff.
Okay. So now Student 6 is 6 power. Unfortunately, she can't use it for anything other than power because Twilight is out on the field.
Yeah.
And then also, unfortunately, she can't advance the number of counters on Student 6 because she didn't get the confront.
Alrighty, over to Max.
Makes me
Who?
wonder if it might have been worth to instead pay 3 to move Student 6 instead of drawing a card and playing it. Because at the very least, she gets 1 point and a counter. But then again, Max also gets a counter.
Yeah.
Kind
Although,
of a hard decision to make.
like, with all the stuff that Max has already got out, are you as afraid of his counters anymore?
I think I think it's more important that you get counters because you need a better board state.
Mhm.
But I think that you're so far away from a lot of, important friends that you may want and Max is much closer, that it's kind of a hard decision to make. All right, pay 3 counters, play Miss Main.
Let's see what Max would get back from that.
I would oh, Mysterious Disappearance.
Makes
I was
sense.
gonna say I might have gotten in my head like a catchy song, but Mysterious Disappearance to get rid of the staff. I wouldn't imagine that Diamond would want to get anything back.
Yeah. She's got a pie in the sky and a. Can't
I think
remember
the other
what the.
one is a Miss Main.
Yeah. Max discarding another Luna and a Chrysalis. That being. Dude, I actually
Off a
think.
mysterious disappearance.
Yeah.
Yeah. To get rid of the staff. Luna to
Fortunately,
frighten.
he actually has two Chrysalises in this deck, so it's possible to tell.
Oh, that is true. Okay, Max going for the double.
This time it is not worth 0 points, it's worth 2.
Ooh.
So this will take him
I
up.
imagine Diamond would really want that motivational speech right about now.
Yeah, probably.
Unfortunate flip. But that's a lot of points for Max.
All right, yeah, 10 points. 7-point lead.
Right, I think right there, Diamond's inability to get a double confront is hurting quite badly.
Yeah. Home limit, ditch the Orchard Blossoms, per
Yes.
usual.
Then you can get them back with In My Head Like a Catchy Song and go for another ride.
Does have to get rid of one more thing.
There we go, the Miss Main.
Diamond letting us know that the speech was indeed a unfortunate flip. So we can infer based on that her hand must be full of probably a couple of tricorns. Just stuff that she doesn't have the deck for.
Okay, Max hits Limestone now. I wonder what he picked. I almost might want to say Cluj Town Citizens here. I think you're far enough ahead that giving more counters isn't really the biggest deal.
Yeah, and
Instead, not allowing her to play anything from her hand as easily to kind of lock out her side of the board is going to be kind of like more important.
probably. And you're not super worried about 2 counters on student
Yeah,
six either.
especially when you're only 5 points away from winning,
Right, well,
and
there's
your opponent is 12 points away.
speech with white.
Yep,
What is that?
could be your own Luna.
Nice. Pretty good, honestly, if Max is moving stuff quite a lot. We'll take
Right,
away
but
his
she also
ability.
needs protection for the Luna. Her own Mistmane.
Gets back the Miss Main from before.
Okay. And
Max.
then on her next turn, she could potentially play. She could play that for free if she gets a. She could potentially play it for free.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what Max hit with Limestone.
I believe Max declined. Oh, well, you mean what?
On the last turn he did, but on this turn, he now used it.
That's right. Oh,
It looks like Max declined to pick anything back up. If he had entry into pink, I might have just picked up the In My Head Like a Catchy Song. What a mouthful of a card name.
yeah. Alrighty. Max's position, 3 points on the board. Probably just go get him. Luna has 7 power, so she could run grand opening all on her own.
Well, he could just pay 2 to. Yes, that's right. And then he could just move another, just one friend over to Diamond's problem.
Yeah.
There he goes.
Twilight works.
Yeah, so it looks like 7-12 power versus 0. Not the best prospects for winning. Also, yeah, okay, there we go.
Okay.
So now when you use limestone on your like it doesn't matter that that student 6 now has 3 counters because you just use limestone, turn it off, and those counters can't really do anything.
Mhm. Did Max just confronted Grand Opening? I don't believe he took anything back from it.
I don't think there's anything for him to take back. I don't quite remember what is in his discard pile at this point.
Yeah, not any resources, I don't think.
All right, is that another
That is a
new
second
antique store?
antique store, yes.
All right, let's hope digging 3 cards down is going to help her here.
I don't know. It's tough. Max only 2 points away, and as we said, this deck is lacking on the Orpheus shenanigans.
Right, not being able to interact with Twilight here is the biggest pain. She just does so much stuff. I imagine that one's targeting student 6.
Yes, that would make sense. At
Right,
this,
can't do it. Like, cannot use the counters, doesn't matter how many you've got. The full hand, 5 AT.
still has purple and white.
Draw for 1. Imagine, like, when you're this late in the game, you're so close to winning as Max, and you see your opponent have to pay AT to draw, you gotta be feeling pretty good
Absolutely, yeah.
about your prospects.
Max knows he's uh, gonna have 6 AT in his turn, and those problems are both easy to confront.
Yeah, you just need one friendly niche problem, looks like.
Looks like he'll have game one, probably.
Alright, play the other Miss Main.
Why not?
And she gets back Pie from the Sky.
Righty. 19 left. Probably not much. It's 3 AT to move anything. Oh,
I guess she discarded Celestia to Klooch Town Citizens. Now she's got almost every color.
yes, yes. Plays it Brian. Okay. I'm happy to see Celestia at all, even if it is just going to the discard pile. I'll tell you, that was one card that I did not expect to see in lists at all in this, let alone 2 lists, 2 separate people running Celestia.
Alright, looks like the game is over and Max has won.
Indeed. All right, well,
So I think as it pertains to that Celestia, if you can get it out early and stop it from, leaving the field, I think it's not bad. I think it's pretty strong. It's just that most of the decks I think that want to run her don't really end up using her second ability, where if you have more friends than opponent, you pay 2 less to play it.
Uh, yeah, that makes sense.
Right. I think her biggest benefit is that she's 5 power for that she can move around for 1. I don't think, like, as much as I would like to see her third ability, which is if one of your friends would be frightened or dismissed, you can put it into your hand instead.
Right, that one's also.
As much as, like, I would like to see it being useful or relevant, I haven't really seen that happen. On paper, it sounds pretty good, but in practice, I don't think it's really ever been used much.
I
I
mean,
think, yeah,
we say that having the built-in protection on Twilight is one of the good things about her, but
I think it's one of the it's really good because then you don't have to worry about, having extra cards in order to stop your your high value, high cost things from leaving for relatively, little cost on your opponent's side. Because when you play, like, you pay 3 or you pay 5 to put something big down, and then it disappears to like a belly flop. That's just the worst feeling.
oh yeah, absolutely. Especially as in these decks, often enough, it's probably going to be more than 5, given that you did something to set up your colors or
Yeah.
card casting it.
Yeah. And so I think in that game it was mostly that, the player who got who got their stuff out first pretty much won. Right? Max had a very streamlined process into his high, value cards. It was just a Kludge Town into Orchard Blossom. And unfortunately, Diamond couldn't get her own version of that running.
And that's just the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah. Also, that one turn where she couldn't get the double confront with 4 points on the board. Unfortunate, but that's pretty much what swung the game wildly into Max's favor.
Yeah, I believe that's the case. Alrighty, well, moving on to Harmony. Uh, let's have a look at the decks. Once again, starting with Diamond Song. So, Harmony, she's brought something very different. Something that I don't think anybody else has done. This is a Gallus Purple Farm.
I think these two players have some more of the unique decks compared to the rest of the field.
Yeah, I believe that's the case.
Okay, Gallus Farm. All right, let's take a look. So we've got quite a few. How many immediate speed events we got here, or things to do here? 3, 6, 9, 12, 14.
Yes, that's my count.
That's a lot. To help, Gallus get the extra points. Play a card during face off, exhaust Gallus, get another point. So you've got a lot of ways. You've got a lot of cards that will help enable that.
Mm-hmm. Good,
You've got
good number of.
staff to
Sorry, I just say most of these are cards you'd want to play during a face-off as well. But it's
yeah,
worth.
you got staff to force face-offs, just in case they aren't happening. We got Ember. Start of a face-off, this card becomes involved in the face-off, which should free up Gallus to, be able to exhaust in order to score those points. Because when you're in a face-off and you use Gallus in the face-off in order to, get the ability, which might happen a lot, and then having to exhaust Gallus, which probably means you lose the face-off, kind of sucks. Right? Gallus doesn't need to be in the face-off, but it might happen that, that is the case a bunch. But in this case, Diamond has Ember, which is pretty much where you drop all of your boosts on.
Yes, that's the expectation.
Yeah, I tried out like a Gallus white aggro type of deck before, and one of my biggest problems was that uh I had Gallus just involved in a lot of face-offs. Just it just so happens that way. Um, but I think this deck might solve some of those issues.
Yeah, could be. Also noteworthy.
Also, on even ground will be extremely annoying.
I was just about to say yes. Max has well. Let's take a look at that. Uh, I said I thought your experience with Reanimator was going to be pertinent. Max brought it in both core and harmony.
Yes.
And yes, uneven ground would be, especially early, could be devastating.
Yeah.
As your early turns, you want to bank most of the time.
Yeah, if you get like a turn one, so if you get like turn one somehow, turn one uneven ground, which is probably with Buckball strategy and Gallus, then you're pretty much mega stuck for a while, right? The I think the only recursion type card that you have that can get underneath the uneven ground tax would be Discord Pile,
Yes,
but that is like I think that's like 4 white.
it is.
So trying to get 4 white when you're stuck under uneven ground in this deck might be quite hard. Redeeming qualities, I think a card that should also be highlighted here is the most straightforward recursion card Max has. Redeeming qualities is 3 costs, so you won't be able to play that. Oh no, it'll be very annoying. At least you've got Smolder and Sandbar and Sweetie Belle, which are cards that you can play while stuck underneath uneven ground.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're completely locked out.
Speaking of, so we've already mentioned a couple of the important points about Max's deck. Otherwise, looks very similar to the core version. Has a slightly different set of tricorns. Or wait, no, is it the same?
They should be the same. I just think that the ratios might be a little different.
Right.
Yeah. So we got Luna, Cadence, and the Twilights.
Right.
It's just that they're not next to each other on the list. You get Moon Dancer now, which is really nice to be able to reuse a lot of your events like Bailout. So now Reanimator has some kind of immediate speed trick to deal with opposition offense.
I suppose actually, going back to the earlier conversation about uneven ground, we do have remarkable Apple Bloom as well. So the three
Yes.
cost stuff isn't necessarily out of reach either.
Yeah, but it's a lot harder to actually do anything, of course.
Okay.
I'm also interested that Diamond decided to use her Gallus deck instead of her other Harmony deck. The other Harmony deck she has is Thorax Aggro. I think it's mono yellow.
Let me see.
And I believe that was the deck that she used to win Van Hoover back in January. One of the few cons we had this year.
Does look very similar, yeah.
Yeah. That's what got her into this tournament in the first place. So it's interesting to see that she elected to use Gallus instead of Thorax here.
Right. You'd expect to stick with what you know, especially with your back to the wall. But let's give it a look. She mentions in the chat that Gallus is a personal favorite of hers, so.
I want to see Gallus do some stuff.
All right, let's get to it.
Also, I would like to see if Max's Chrysalis main with Bailout might actually get some points off of that as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, here's an interesting point, actually. With Chrysalis, this always comes up. It is Diamond's choice whether Max flips his main over or not. I think
Right.
she has a deck that can probably run for a while without flipping the main over.
So it's like, do you want to have the main just like unflipped for as much as you can?
I mean, I think knowing what Max's deck list is, I think that's a reasonable choice.
I think that depends on whether or not you start with uneven ground.
That's a fair consideration.
Like I think that choice I think is very dependent on what your opening hand is in general. All right, so what do we have here? Max starts with orange on Changeling Pretender and white on Trading Traditions.
That is what it looks like. Yeah.
I think that choice is pretty much set in stone. Orange on one and white on the other, because you just want to get into Smolder Sandbar, Sweetie Belle, Orchard Blossom, fast as you can.
Yes, Crow. The in this tournament format, they got a chance to look over and inspect each other's deck lists between each.
Yeah, so they are both aware of what the opposite deck can do. All right, pay two to move to start. I'm personally not a big fan of the pay two to move at the very start of the game. Because especially if nothing happens after that.
Mhm. It's using 2AT that you could save for something else, right?
I don't think you're in big of a rush, right? You could instead save your 2AT on the next turn to see what card you draw, and if it's a card that requires that you end up using 4AT to get out, I think that might be a better option. And that's an option that you're locked out of if you spent two to move on your very first turn. For and what happens that nothing really happens, right?
Mhm, absolutely.
Especially Gallus is, I think, a confront to flip.
He is. All the
Yeah.
Friends Forever mains are.
So by having Gallus there on turn one, you're kind of telegraphing what you want to do, or you're telegraphing which problem you want to move to. Right? Oh, early staff. So I think Gallus would be 5 power now
Yep, which is
with
enough.
Buckball strategy. Yep. So I would much rather, for example, that you wait a turn and then you go staff and then move. That way you don't telegraph what you're going to do or where you want to go. Especially if, let's say, your opponent has a way to, I don't know, play a Cello Maker and flip it up immediately. That would really mess with your plans.
I mean, Tempest main, the obvious choice, uh, or obvious example there.
Yeah, so imagine if Max was Tempest and you went turn one, move Gallus, then you could just go Tempest, pay two to flip, search out a Cello Maker, drop it directly on top of Gallus.
Now, as to Max's deck, I believe that Dallas's boosted text is basically useless except for bailout.
Yeah, but that's still a way to get a point.
Yeah,
And a lot of times you use bailout during a face-off anyways.
very true.
And
Uh,
it's not like you're gonna have Changeling Pretender near,
yeah, she's
like,
usually
you
going to be
probably
around.
won't have it in a face-off. That and contributing power, so it doesn't really matter that much. Diamond Song targets card. All right, you gotta see that green. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, that is a thing that you can. I believe this was just a little accident.
Well, it's pretty good for me to know, especially if you're playing a card like a yellow Parasprite, where you say, I want to, like, you're going to discard this specific card,
No, that
or
actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
yeah, like anytime you need to target a specific card with somebody's hand looks good. All right, playing a Cello Maker
looks like it.
could be one of three Cello Makers, right? So it's either Pony Shadows or Grogar or Chrysalis, the one that moves characters home.
Correct. Given that she played it,
I'm gonna say Grogar.
well, I mean, Grogar makes a lot of sense. Would you play that Like, if it was a Grow card, would you play it to where Gallus is or not?
No, I don't think. Well, your Gallus is 3, 4, 7. 7 on 7 actually isn't too bad. But
6. The Buckball plus
is
one
Grugar
is
6 or 7?
Grogar 7.
Yeah, but Gallus is
Only 6.
3. Yeah, okay, there we go.
The
Um, I with the dex flips, there might be a pretty decent chance of losing, which would really suck. I think you just rather score the point.
That is a fair point.
But now Max gets 3 AT a turn, which means that if on even ground hits the field at some point, he's not locked out of a lot of things. But if Diamond Song happened to have on even ground right about now, that'd be 7 AT lost, which would be pretty catastrophic.
Diamond just letting us know that indeed the fact that Max couldn't get a whole lot of use out of Gallus's ability was a factor in her choice.
All right, pretty good.
Turns out it was a Pony of Shadows.
All right, that's fine too.
But yeah, the same logic applies given that it's 7 power.
I think Thorax having a Thorax on Max's side doesn't really affect that much as
Uh,
well.
Max's deck
I might, I
is
might, I might say that Gallus might end up being like the better option for Max if Max wanted to have a Gallus or a Thorax.
there's a
I
head
think Thorax might be a little more versatile, but
right.
extra points, man.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Headmare Diamond.
So that's the one that copies events once
Yes.
someone hits 8 points.
Yes.
Okay. Max must be just like breathing heavily as Diamond plays out her turn, just hoping that uneven ground doesn't show up.
Well, yeah. Now that he's on 10 AT,
Yeah, Max is really stuck. I'm sure this meant that he mulliganed and got an even worse hand than what he had to begin with. Seeing as nothing is happening on his side for
mm-hmm.
what 4 turns now.
2, 2, 3, 3. Yeah, that would be it. Oh, Rainbow
All right,
Generator.
Rainbow Generator, we got some action going.
Be purple to hard cast a Luna.
I would prefer that you not, but if you have to. So let's see here. Rainbow Generator. Yeah, he drew a card off a Rainbow Generator, which is something that a lot of people forget to do. So he just paid 2. It could be 2 for 2 colors on Rainbow Generator.
I see it there. That's a
There it
Twilight.
is. So he named purple and yellow with Rainbow Generator, and then played Twilight for 5,
Oh,
which I think is completely fine
yeah,
in this sense.
gets a powerful tricorn onto the field. That's what the deck's all about.
And it's also a tricorn that Diamond can't do anything about, because there's no way in her deck to get rid of Twilight.
Good point. And she also has a lot of stuff built on frightening.
Yeah, so like stop fighting, which frightens a friend with 2 or less power, which already isn't that great against Reanimator. Apple Bloom.
Okay. Discard was a Cadence.
So if he had the Apple Bloom, I wonder why he didn't play Apple Bloom first to reduce the cost of Twilight. So Max passed the turn, which means that he used Apple Bloom to just get Cadence into the discard pile,
That is correct, yes.
right? Because he didn't then pay for something else to make it cheaper.
I mean, yeah, it seems like Apple Bloom first pay one less for Twilight would be the correct line then.
He might have been okay because Diamond had what 2 AT open,
That's
I believe.
correct. She has misfires
Yeah,
in her deck.
yeah. So yeah, so he could have been scared of stop fighting on Apple Bloom. He could have been scared of misfire. Because you go Apple Bloom, discard one of your cards, and then Diamond could just go misfire, and then if you're going to play some kind of recursion card, then you can do that. Nothing's there. So it could be just Max is just being cautious instead of trying to eke out as much value as he possibly could.
Yep, he's a guy who's up a game. Makes sense to play it safe. Up a game with plenty of time on the clock too. So
Yeah, how long did the first game last?
not long at all. Perhaps 40, 45 minutes, something like that.
Right. Mentioning that the standard time for a game in at least tournament rules is what 35 minutes, but I believe there's a bit of extra time added for online games just due to the interface that you have to use.
Yes. 45 is, I think, the standard time for an online tournament game.
All right, so it looks like Diamond's using staff, targeting anything really,
Yeah. Target is
just so
immaterial.
that she can get the point off of playing daring dive, I believe.
Yes. So, see, when she exhausts Gal, she's discarding stuff for it now.
Yeah, it's like because you have Ember. Okay, normally when because you have like Ember and stuff, it's harder to lose if you want to use staff and then use Gallus to score a point like she just did. But because Twilight's on the field, like the major result of what just happened was that Diamond paid 1 AT to use staff, paid another AT maybe. Daring dive is 0 at cost, I think. So she paid 1 AT to score a point.
Yep. Which
Just
is still a
pretty
good,
good.
yeah, that's a good rate of return.
And then she still gets the confront for another point. Ooh, the Orchard Blossom flip's pretty painful.
Yep. This is still the staff flip, right?
This is still a staff face-off.
Yeah. GP pointing out that the Daring Dive does require a 2-card discard.
Yeah, which happened.
So, yeah, you can't do that forever.
All right, currently 5-0 for Diamond, which is much better than the first game around.
Max probably will be trying to fight this Pony of Shadows, though.
Yeah, I don't mind that play.
8 power over there right now. And pretty good flips.
Yeah, Diamond has pretty good flips as well, so we'll see what happens. All right, he looks like he just goes straight through the main phase.
Oh, well, okay. Decided it was a little bit too much of a risk, I guess.
I don't think it's the biggest risk because you just move Apple Bloom away, play
Yeah.
another thing, no problem.
One assumes then he's going to play something else. Ooh, Limestone. Oh.
I like it. When
Oh,
you have to. Oh,
you know, that's a good point. I just realized it wasn't 8 against 7. It was 8 against 10 because of Ember.
yes, Ember is always involved.
That makes sense as to why he wouldn't challenge that.
But now you have Limestone out. So not only did you just give yourself 6 more power, but especially for decks that involve, like you've got a single point of focus, right? You have Gallus, right? Limestone does really well against those kinds of decks.
And I believe that is what he just targeted with his Limestone.
You know that thing about Ember really trips a lot of people up. This card becomes involved in the face-off, the start of a face-off.
Just the way it interacts with troublemakers and such, or
Yeah, it's for a lot of people it's very unexpected, but that is how it works.
yeah. Well, I mean, it does. It kind of overrides what the rules say regarding like troublemaker face-offs and face-offs created by modifiers and such. So yeah, it's a little counterintuitive.
All right, so we have a pay one to draw. After you use Daring Dive, she was down to 3 cards and would really like to refresh her hand if possible.
Okay, Starlight for an AT.
Yeah, now it's 6-0.
Pretty healthy lead.
Pretty healthy lead, but I believe that having 4 AT is roughly the point where you could really kick things into an extra gear with this reanimator deck. If you start with for example, being able to use Apple Bloom or a Smolder and Sandpar to discard a big thing like a Twilight, and then using discard pile on turn like 2 or 3 in order to fish it back out. That's kind of your dream start, but that doesn't mean that if you don't get that, then you don't do anything.
Right, absolutely. Exhausting Limestone hit Ember. One assumes prime for this face-off.
All right, same day delivery. Put it on top of your deck.
Yep. Gets to flip a 6. And
And she gets the point off of Gallus if she
if
didn't target Gallus.
yeah, if she didn't, then we know, okay, Gallus is off, Ember is on.
Max would like
Max,
to have that bailout, but the 5 power is really, really good right now. That should be a win for Max.
I believe it
So
was.
5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 14, 19 versus what looks like to be 7, 10, 16 at most.
16 it would be, yes.
All right. Yeah. Max scored the point. Now let's see what comes out of Diamond's deck. Oh, Caramel Apple.
Not bad. Does come in with 4 power.
Yeah. So if Max goes for a double, then it's not as concrete of a win. I believe that's 6, 8, 11 plus 4, so that's 15 power on Diamond's side if Max decides to go for a double confront.
All
And
right.
Diamond's deck, I believe, does flip higher.
Yeah.
I would hope it does if this is a farm-centric deck.
Mhm. Max does have 4 AT to play some more stuff this round, though.
Almost any friend that he plays, I think, would help him with a double confront.
Oh, absolutely.
Does it feel kind of bad when you play a troublemaker that you kind of want to beat up yourself, but your opponent does first? My Pony is Shadow is it's not it doesn't feel as bad because you kind of want it to be defeated anyways.
Right. And it is only 1 point.
Yeah. Diamond flags Caramel Apple as a pump card.
Right. But when you, I don't know how familiar you are with Octagon, when you flip a card as a way to get it from your deck into play, the way to tell the game that it's not a flipped card anymore. Kind of toggle it with some other stat.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I just put it into my hand and drop it directly back into the field.
Yeah, that also works.
Octagon does a lot of things that may be a little obtuse or hidden. I think that's one of those.
Doesn't help that we haven't had a reason to use pump cards for a long
A while.
time.
I think Max here is just trying to figure out what he wants to do next for AT. If he had
Yeah.
Orchard Blossom, he could be playing one, but
Okay, Apple Bloom. Discarding Moon Dancer.
okay. Right, Diamond has 0 AT. So, because she used it on same day delivery, I believe. So, you're not scared of Misfire at all. Okay, just pays 4 for Luna.
Yep. Did I have all the colors for that? This looks familiar. But the Diamond's got a much better board state for herself this time.
Yeah. Alright. Thing is, like, yeah, Max can start lawnmowering Diamond's friends.
An interesting metaphor. I don't think I've heard it put that quite that way before.
Just go down one by one. Alright, go for the double. Flips high alert.
Man, Headmare. That should be Max's face off then. Well, what problems will that?
Yeah, all of a sudden now it's 6-4. And if Diamond wants to, go back at her problems, right, Luna's move tax is going to be a really big pain in the butt.
Hmm. Speaking of, there's a guilty until proven innocent. She's got no AT, so that is actually not going to happen.
That shouldn't happen. That Come on, man. You've got Luna. There we go. Right, Luna taxes every move, doesn't matter much. So, main phase move action or a card tells you to move something, that's always 1 AT.
Hmm.
So, unfortunately, playing that same day delivery is having some knock-on effects for Diamond at the moment. Would really like to have that move right about now.
Absolutely. Saves you 2 AT.
Right? Max's board state is looking prettier and prettier by the turn.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's pretty similar to what it was last game. Getting to the point where you just move stuff and DFO every turn.
Yeah, especially against a deck that can't really deal with Twilight. Kind of similar to the last game we just had.
But Diamond has the edge in points. He does have the stick and Gallus. So,
And Limestone is currently exhausted.
yeah. But she does still have a way to score points if she still has immediate events in her hand, at least.
Yeah, the trouble here now is that Max could um, Max could be scoring 3 points a turn if you go for the double confront. Usually it takes only 4 AT to do so, and he's gaining 4 AT a turn. Right? So Diamond has to try to match that point output.
Yeah, at the rate of 1 point per turn for her and 4 or 3 for him, that is a game win for Max. Does have the benefit of a Starlight, the extra AT.
Okay, uses it on staff. Right? So, staff is pretty much free every turn now.
It's true. We assume she must have an immediate event in hand, because that face off is useless otherwise. Or a
Okay,
hasty friend.
Rutherford. Okay, very good. Unfortunately, you would really like to be able to confront a problem and do that on the same turn.
Right, absolutely.
Oh, uneven ground flip. Like, imagine if Diamond had that at any point within the first, like, 5 turns.
Indeed. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oi, 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 indeed.
I'm
We wouldn't
glad.
be looking at 6-0. I think it would be something even worse.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad Hithrock wasn't here to. Sure, he would have been having an anxiety attack over that situation.
You wouldn't be the only one. You really wouldn't. A lot of people have shared that pain.
Notable, I guess, that with her now at 7 points, one more and her head mirror will be active.
Yeah, what's something good you can copy? Twilighting lets you dig very deep.
Hmm.
Magical Misfire gets you 2 cards instead of 1. Stop fighting, not that great.
Yeah. I mean, if without a Twilight on the field, it would be frightened two things.
Daring Dive gets you 4 power. Okay, Luna fighting Ember again. Or frightening Ember. It's kind of like something that I think Diamond has to do is just flip Ember back up every time. Because if you don't, then Max can move on to other targets.
Right. Like your
And
Starlight or.
also, yeah, having Starlight uh, makes it cost basically 1 to, unfrighten.
Which is still net +1 for Max, but well, much better than +2. Guilty is an 8 over there. So, like, Max probably can't confront it this turn. And indeed, he does just single confront.
So what I would really like to see Diamond do here is go for at least a confront, as well as using staff here.
Mhm.
Gotta score more than 1 point a turn at this point.
Yeah. That limestone
I
must
presume that
be.
one.
Yeah, must be Gallus.
Yeah. So that option is kind of out of the picture. So you would, I would like to see her go for like a double confront,
That is
especially
a.
while guilty until proven innocent is 2 bonus.
Mhm.
So that could be potentially 4 points. Unfortunately, grand opening is a quite large problem for the opponent.
So she pays 3 to move Gallus, 1 for a troublemaker.
Yeah. So she
Uh,
didn't flip Ember again, which so she'll have 180
she
if she
has.
gets Starlight.
That's correct, yes.
And being able to float that 180 can be very important. Okay, there it goes. But the problem now is that Max can then frighten Starlight on his next turn.
Right. A troublemaker is probably Chrysalis, right? That would make the
Yep. Anything else, and kind of the Luna can just sit there and punch it. Which, as a farming deck, you would rather not have happen.
generally speaking. Yeah.
Okay, oh, gets Twilight out of the way. Right? Because Twilight is now active, he could be quite concerned about anything that could copy.
I guess so. Yeah. Looks like Max is going to take the DFO himself this time. Got the AT for it.
Right. So I think Diamond paid 3 to move Gallus up, right?
Yes.
And she scored the point off of that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the unfortunate problem here now is that uh, there's 4 points on the table potentially for Max. If he wins this face off, which I think he was it 12 versus 8,
5, 12, 5, 12, 15. Not?
15
Well, now that.
for Diamond side.
Oh,
So there's a staff
that's
plus
right. Sorry.
Gallus plus Rutherford. I think is 8.
That's correct.
All right. So I think that Limestone probably also targeted Gallus again.
Would make sense.
Right, going to face off. Change the Pretender up there to practically guarantee the win. But I imagine Max has like a some kind of bailout to get the extra point here.
All right. Takes him up to 9.
Yeah, doesn't look like he does. But spend 2 to basically guarantee that you win the face off. I think is okay. Considering what is happening currently.
Yeah. Ooh, that liking lesson plans. That's a shame.
Winter is coming is a problem that I don't think sees that much play, but in the right kind of deck, I think it's very, very good. Unfortunately, Max's friends can't be frightened at all, so
Hmm.
that problem is essentially a blank.
Yeah. For those unaware, when you confront this problem, you may dismiss a frightened friend.
But because Max's friends can't be frightened, that might be a little hard to do. And you're right, there was a Chrysalis as the Troublemaker. Max dodged that by double confronting. Also, with that 4-point swing, Max now has the lead, 9-8.
Yep. Only 6 away. And, well, 3 points. So, yeah, functionally call that two DFOs, right? 3 points this turn.
Two multi face-offs, or you could just fight the Chrysalis and get there a little bit quicker.
That's a good point.
Right. Because there's a Chrysalis out there, he can't double confront anyways.
Well, it's a lacking lesson plan.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry, I forgot about that.
No
Lacking
worries.
lesson. I might just rather punch out the Chrysalis. You have Twilight out in the field, so all your stuff is super powered.
For what it's worth, just so you don't feel bad about it, I happen to remember from hearing the audio of this game that Max forgets about the lacking lesson plans too. So
That's like the worst time when it's actually relevant. All right, looks like Diamond's going for another point here with Staff. 7-1 flips. That would have been nice in an earlier face-off, but unfortunately here it doesn't really make much of a difference.
takes it up to a tie. And give her credit. How many points has she scored with Gallus so far this game?
I believe at least 3.
Yeah.
Right. With Gallus, that's what you want to be doing. Right. But you also want to be supplementing that with, more stuff.
Right. Yes.
because like Luna is causing such a strain on her AT, even though she has Starlight. She copies stop fighting.
I guess so.
Oh no, the Twilight went to the bottom of her discard pile, according to the log. Yeah, so in this case, if Max had remembered about lacking lesson plans, I would just park something over there. Two things. So you score one, and then next turn you fight Chrysalis, score 2 points if you win, and then go for the double. Which would be looks like that would be a 5-point turn if that happens.
Would be, yeah.
And that would be enough. But seeing as apparently Max said himself that he didn't consider that line, I would like to see. Be interesting to see what he does here. Okay, because he does this, does that mean? Hmm. Is Winter's coming? I think is an 8.
It is.
On the opposite side, so Luna's currently 7.
That's correct. He's one short.
Yep. Okay, Ember's frightened yet again. I think that makes it like the 4th or 5th time now.
Something like that, yeah. Frightened on nearly all of Max's turn. Well, once Luna came out.
Max discards Golden Parachute, which is really good. If it's generally a very good discard choice. Here, I don't think that is going to matter that much because I don't believe there's a way for his friends to leave play anymore. Unless it's to like a retirement to home limit.
Right. So Smoldering Sandbar is a double.
I think, like you said, he forgot that.
Right. Yeah.
He forgot. I guess both players.
Yeah, and I think we walk this back here.
Okay. Yeah, given the choice of a double now, um, or to just stack friends at the Chrysalis and fight it out, I'd rather do the latter. I just think it's a potential for more points, especially that if you did that, then the game would be over in 2 turns, assuming everything goes right.
Right.
As it stands, that could, because he causes this double face-off, there are 2 less points on the board.
And funnily enough, the lacking lesson plans, well, only works for him, right? So even if he's stacking his stuff there, Diamond can't force the single face off because there's an epic there.
Yep.
Okay, so here's the face off.
Oh, another Orchard Blossom. So Max is at 12 here.
That is correct. Halt Evildoers comes up in Diamond's discard.
Or it is. So Halt Evildoers, the first time you move a character, you can pay one to move another character?
Yes. The first time you move a character to this problem, you get to pay one to move another character here.
Okay.
Which, now that I think about it, does that mean you move a character to the same problem, or?
Yes.
Okay.
They both have to go to Halt Evildoers. Unfortunately, that means that you'll have to pay 2 for Luna's tax in order to even get that effect.
That's a fair point. Unfortunate. All right. So with Max at 12 and 3 points on the board,
Yeah, he just needs to do a double confront here to close out this game.
Diamond does have 7 AT first, though.
Caramel apple.
Strong play. And
What I really want to see here is a double confront.
absolutely, yeah. With 3 cards in hand. All right, 6 AT. Already got 4 over there. That's your cards in hand will have to be above the curve. Well, actually, even just
Caramel apple is already pretty above
yeah,
the curve.
like paying 3 to move Gallus is still good, actually. Then you only need a then you
All
own
right.
any friend will do. Well, not any friend will do, but just you only need 2 power.
Practically. Yeah. Right. So here, all you can really do is get a double confront and hope the problems that flip now are too big for Max to confront and get a double face off in one turn.
That is any friend.
Stellar Flare. Unfortunately, Stellar Flare's prepared isn't going to make a difference here, but it does get the confront going.
Okay. Runs to 10 and to 11.
There we go. Flips Misfire.
No,
Or is she playing Misfire? She's
that
playing
was a
Misfire.
play misfire, yes.
Okay, very good.
If she thinks she's going to win the face-off, well, wait, is her Gallus turned off or not? I think it's probably off.
I would like to believe it is off.
Yeah, looks like it was.
Okay, there we go. I would prefer to float the 1AT just in case something, but I think it's safe. Max can't cheat anything out.
Oh, those are. No, that's a halt evildoer. That is small.
And grand opening.
Right.
Right, so that should be confrontable with one character each.
Each one, yes.
Yeah, Hold the Evildoer is 6,
So blinds
and grand opening is 6 total.
6 with white being necessary.
Yeah, but you have Luna. It's fine.
Luna and limestone.
Right, you were hoping for something that was like 7. Or not even 7, 8. You would need an 8.
Yep.
So like guilty until proven innocent. Another winter is coming. So he had an okay chance.
She's only got the one Winter's coming in the deck.
Okay.
So the other guilty was actually the only.
I think at that point it would have been like a 1 in 5-ish chance, considering all the face-offs that have happened.
It's still, I mean, given that it's that or
You got to go for it.
yeah,
If that's like your only way in, to win, you have to try.
absolutely.
But as it stands here, it looks like Max has the win on the board.
Yep. Diamond has no AT left. Max is 6. Plenty enough. I know he's taking a gut check just to make sure not overlooking anything.
Going through the motions. There we go. 1 and 2.
Twilight, enough on her own.
No, it's not. There
So,
we go.
yep, Crystals works.
Bring in Changeling Pretender for the victory parade.
Score 1, score 2. Does still have to win the face-off, but that. Two.
And turns off Gallus just in case, I believe. Okay. 13, 14, flip,
15. Should be.
and 15. And that should be game.
And so it is.
That game was a lot closer than the first game for sure. I think the Limestone was particularly effective. It really slowed down Diamond's ability to score points. The Luna and the Twilight, pretty much like all three cards went around, did their jobs. Yeah, I think the major problem was that both of Diamond's decks really didn't have an answer to Twilight, which Max managed to get out quite early both games.
Yeah. He his early game clicked.
And then the Limestone froze pretty much her mains both times. It was quite the same, even though there's a lot of different cards you can fish out in Reanimator with Max, both decks. Right? Yeah, things like Zomponies, which we didn't see, Torch, which we didn't see, Cadence, which we also didn't see, Moon Dancer. There are a lot of different things you can get depending on the situation. But I feel like this is kind of the standard. This is what you want to aim for. You get Twilight, you get Limestone. Twilight protects all your stuff and helps you confront. Limestone just makes it way harder for the opponent to do anything. And then get a Luna out both games. The 1 AT attack and putting pressure on your opponent's side of the board. Kind of get those out, and then I feel like it was pretty standard for the Reanimator deck to go through and do its stuff.
From that point on, yeah. Confront the problems, win the face-offs, and cruise to victory.
Yeah. Diamond's idea with her core Reanimator deck, it was very different from the other ones that we've seen. But I'm not sure if the deck was kind of focused enough on the entire idea of Reanimator. You had a lot of other cards that didn't quite kind of fit the theme in a sense. Didn't really help it towards that strategy. But if you happen to get those cards out, then it's really, really good. In this deck, in the Gallus deck, I think that she was scoring a lot of points, but couldn't get there fast enough. But if she had gone like just uneven ground within the first 5 turns, Max didn't do anything at that point. Just finding one and dropping one would have been so painful. I think because Diamond ended the game at 12 points, I think that she would have won if she found an uneven ground at any point within those first 5 turns, which is like 6, 12, about 11 or 12 cards like chances in order to draw the uneven ground. But I think she only has 2.
That's
So I don't not quite sure what the odds are on that, but I think it would have been pretty decent.
Should be, yeah. Especially if you're mulliganing, if you're mulling for it. Well, I'm obviously.
Which is another 6 cards to look at.
Yeah.
But yeah, Max managed to roll out his game plan both times. Diamond's game plan didn't really work out in game 1, but in game 2, she got there with her game plan, but it didn't quite manage to reach the end. She didn't like the deck didn't manage to farm any troublemakers, which is kind of hard to win if you are a farm deck. You just needed a way to be able to score points and use Gallus on the same turns, right? Scoring 2 points a turn, really great. If you're scoring only 1 point a turn with Gallus, it's not as great.
Right, absolutely.
So yeah, that's what I think of the 2 games. Second game was pretty close. I think it was a pretty good game.
I thought so too. Yeah, it was a worthy inclusion, and for once we get to sign off a little early.
So this is the first game. This is the first match that didn't have a third game, right?
Well, no, his Rock and Smithers only had 2 games,
Oh, right.
but they
But
still
I
went
guess
for
the
three
games went
hours.
really long.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I guess their deck styles tend to involve that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, they both talk a bit and think a bit, and it,
I mean, thinking is required. You got a lot of thinking time, right?
yeah, it was combo, so there was a lot of thinking.
There was a So, who do they play? Who does Max play next? Now that he's advanced, congratulations, by the way.
Absolutely. Max will play against the winner of Bugle versus Sundial, which will be our match next week.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, they're both. Well, I mean, I it goes without saying they're both formidable opponents. They're both invited to the tournament. Of course they are. But yeah, everyone knows Bugle and Pancake or Sundial or whatever you call him was second
Wow.
place at last Continentals, I think. Anyway, yeah.
I think those should be good games.
Well, having seen them because we recorded them, we've already recorded them.
Hey, man, no spoilers.
True, I've learned my lesson on that. But I can tell you, they are good games.
All right, that's good to know. Because seeing bad games isn't the greatest. I don't think we've really had bad games so far. I think even games that have been somewhat one-sided have had interesting plays in it, and we've got to see decks do their things regardless. What I'm really hoping for is not another 1 hour 1-0 slog, even though that slog did have plays happen within that 1 hour.
Mhm.
But I would like to see a little more, progression.
Well, I'm not going to say anything on that front.
Curses.
um,
Almost wrenched it out of you.
anyway, as stated, thank you all for coming in, tuning into the stream. Appreciate both Max and Diamond Song for putting in the effort on the match. Congratulations to both players.
Yeah, and having pretty unique decks compared to the rest of the field.
Indeed.
Always enjoy seeing new things.
Yeah. So, as stated, we'll be back again next time. Same same place, same channel, same time. Thank you very much, Pages, for joining me,
Thanks for having me again.
and we'll see y'all soon.